So Kelly, I'll just continue to let people in, but it is after 7, so we'll go ahead and get this started. First of all, I want to welcome everyone. Um, and just if you don't mind, just make sure that you're on mute. If you have a question, we want to make this free and easy. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself to ask Kelly during the paint. But until then, if everyone could just mute themselves, that would be awesome. And just welcome everyone. This is going to be so fun. I have personally painted with Painting with a Twist several times. They are located here in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina, which I will introduce myself. My name is Candy Kerr, and I am the Senior Workplace Experience Manager for our Southern properties here in Charlotte. And we are just trying to bring you guys a little bit of joy and some fun during these weird times that we are all living in. With that being said, if you guys have any feedback whatsoever after this class, please shoot it our way. We want to make this the best experience for you. So any feedback you can give us, either send to me or your workplace experience manager, we would greatly appreciate it. I'll also check out what we've got coming down the line on our Flourish website, which most of you guys probably know. It's at our website, beconet.com/flourish. We've got some good things coming down the pike. And again, if you have some suggestions on things you would like to do or see, please let us know. And with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to Kelly with Painting with a Twist. She is going to help us make our masterpieces tonight, and I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, if you guys have a question, just unmute, ask Kelly. She'll be happy to help you. I'm going to pin her now so we can enjoy the class.
All right. Hi, guys. How's everyone doing? You guys all look so cute with your aprons. But welcome. My name is Kelly, and we are going to be painting this lovely little winter scene here. Is this anyone's first time painting since they were like little? Yeah, we got a few. Does anyone love to paint? Like they paint all the time? Oh, no, okay. Well, awesome. Just a couple of things before we do get started. You should have brushes. You should have gotten the small little square one, and then also like a nice round pointy one. And then you just need a cup of water. So Candy probably told you that. So if you don't have one, you can go grab one, fill it up really quick, so that way you can rinse out your brushes. And then we did give you guys like a paper plate, and I personally like to pour the paint on the plate, so that way you can mix it and you don't contaminate like those little containers. So like if you're trying to mix colors, I wouldn't do it in the container because then you'll run out of white and you won't have any left. So I kind of pour little bits at a time on my plate, and then I mix on there and then use that for the painting. And then you should have a canvas. If anyone's missing one of those, I hope not, but yeah, I should have one of those. And it is acrylic paint, so it comes off your skin really easily, so you can wash your hands, get it off. But if you have any kind of like carpet, or if you're wearing your favorite shirt, I would just try to be careful not to get it on there. And if you do, just quickly, while it's still wet, wash it off before it dries, because then it likes to kind of just stay on there. But we did give you guys an apron, which I see a lot of you wearing. Awesome. If you have dirty clothes on, you don't need to wear the apron. You can also use the apron as like a surface covering. But yeah, you guys ready?
Yeah. Question?
Okay. So we got 2 brushes, but we are actually going to start off with did someone have a question?
Yeah, I received only a tiny pointed one brush only. So.
Oh, that's okay. We can use this one. You'll be able to do it all.
Yeah. Okay.
The canvas is small enough that you'll be able to get it done with this one. Okay, but you're gonna start off with that pointy one, so you can all take that one out, and then I'm gonna dip that brush like in your water just to loosen it up, since you guys have new brushes and they're probably a little stiff. And then you can dry it off on the paper towel that you got there. You go grab one. All right, but what we're gonna do first is we are actually going to start off by kind of mapping out our canvas, where we want like our mountains to go, so that way you kind of have an idea of where everything's going before we start painting it all on there. And I'm going to mix up a light shade of blue. So on your plate, you can take a little bit of white and a little bit of blue, and I'm just going to mix it to get a shade of light blue. Doesn't matter what it is because we're going to end up covering all this up anyways. Just so that way you can see it. All right. And so is anyone type A, OCD? Like if things aren't perfect, you might have a little break. I see someone pointing at someone. We'll just, you know, this is acrylic paint. It dries really quickly. You can always paint over it and fix it. So as we start putting the lines on there, you know, if you mess it up, we can fix it and paint over it. So if you're I don't know if anyone's drinking, but drinking helps, you know, if you want to do that. And if you're not drinking, keep breathing. If you are drinking though, don't take sips from this cup because it like your water cup, because people do that all the time. So just don't do that. Okay, so we have our light blue on here and we're gonna start off at the bottom and work our way back. So we have these rolling mountains going on. So I'm gonna start off with the first one. So the first one's kind of hilly. It's the closest one to me. And as you go and you start making your mountains, you also want to kind of pay attention to how much space you have up at the top. So that way your mountains don't get too big and then you have like this much space for your sky. So since your canvas is a little bit smaller, but they're normal size, but we're going to start off with the hill at the bottom. So, and it's a little bit bigger or taller on the left side, and then it kind of swoops down how you want it. But I'm gonna start about like 3 or 4 fingers up from the bottom with the light blue. And then you can take a deep breath in. I don't know if anyone's nervous, but go for it. And then I'm just gonna kind of create this little rolling hill here. So a little bit taller over here, it can get dipped down. But I mean, it's up to you, like how much, like if you wanna bring this up more, you wanna bring it down. You can always tweak it as we go. So like if you decide that you needed to bring it up, we can bring it up later. But this is where like our little trees are gonna come from. There's 2 big trees right here. So we've got like our first line on there. It's just kind of hilly versus some pointy mountains. And so if you decide you want to bring it up a little bit more, you can always do it now, like with your light blue. But then you want to create your next mountain. So we're just going to kind of fold them back. So the next one that is in the front is going to be this one that's over here on this right side. And it's going to start from the edge of that line that we just did, and then you're just going to kind of create your next little mountain. So it can be kind of pointy, it can be a little bit more of that rolling hill, depending on what kind of mountains you got going on. And it starts from that first line that we just did, and it makes its way over. And I started a little bit past like halfway on that hill, but I mean, you can start anywhere along that line, but all right, but then you can keep going. So, oh, that looks good. All right, but then you can keep going, and we have, there's 4 more that we're gonna add if you like how this one is, but you can also tweak it, like if you only want 3 more. But then I'm gonna start again, but this mountain is gonna start from this, the one that we just did, and it's gonna fill this space over here. So same light blue, I'm gonna start somewhere along this mountain side, and I'm gonna create my next little mountain here. And you can also kind of, as you're going, kind of see how much space you still have left to see if you need to make your next ones a little smaller, or maybe they can be a little bit bigger. But then you can do your next one. And the next line, actually, the bigger version of this, but so the next one, there's like these 2 that are on the same side, and then there'll be 1 over here. So from the mountain you just put on there, I'm gonna create 1 little one. And then on mine, I'm gonna do an extra one that's gonna kind of come a little bit higher. So kind of just breaking up like the perfect mountain range. So I'm kind of adding the 2 on the one side over here. But then whatever space you got left on that left side, I'm just gonna start from here and create whatever kind of mountain I want there. And it doesn't have to be like, I kind of did this zigzag where it's not just one perfect triangle. You kind of mess it up a little bit. But then once you kind of get this on here, you can look at it and see if you need to tweak any, or maybe you want to mess one up because it's too perfect of a triangle and you want to kind of round it out or add an extra bump to it. You can do it now with your light blue because we're going to be painting over it anyways. So like maybe if you want to make one taller, that one taller, anything you want to change. But now I know that like all this is gonna be my sky up here. Oh, that looks good, Sonia. Oh, nice. I like it, Joel. Very nice. Oh, nice. I like that extra little one you did in the center. Yeah, you guys got this. Is anyone having a panic attack? Is everyone? They all look really good. Nice. Awesome. So far, so good. Regina.
Kelly?
Yeah.
I have a question. If your mountains ended up really high where you don't have too much room, can we correct that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So just kind of bring them down how you want them to be. And then when we do the sky, we're just going to paint those colors on top of it.
Awesome.
You'll just cover it up. Nice. I like it, Erin. I like the top mountain. Yeah, we're going to paint those too. So that you're just ahead. Awesome. All right, so we should have them all mapped out. If you need to kind of tweak it, you can, if you want to bring your sky down. But then we are going to start in our sky first. So this area that is up here, we are going to start to fill that in. And this one, so it starts a little bit lighter down here. So we're going to be using like white and blue. And as we go up towards the top, we're going to be using more blue and start adding a little bit of black to it if you want it to get darker. So it has this like fade going on. But you can, if you just have the pointy one, you can use this one. If you have the square one, you can switch to this one. But I'm going to switch to the square one. But you can also do it with the pointy one. And you can, so I'm going to dip that one in my water cup and loosen it up and dry it off. And then starting off, like right behind my mountains, I'm going to start off with white and little bits of blue. I'm going to grab a big old scoop of white paint and a little bit of blue. I've got the 2 colors on here. And then right around where I stopped with my mountains, I'm going to start to go back and forth. And you can look at it, and like if it's too dark, you can always keep grabbing some white paint or throwing it in there. And the sky starts to do this like fun, like U shape, like it's kind of like a smiley face curve. I'm going to start in between my little mountains, wherever that is. If you were needing to bring your mountains down or you need to cover some lines, you can go right over them with this background color. But I like for mine to be streaky, so I'm kind of switching between the white, the blue. And then also as we go, we do have these side edges that you can paint too. So like it's like this little edge on your canvas and you can wrap it around. So that way it matches whatever shades you got going on. And when you hang it on the wall, you guys are all gonna hang these, right? But you You can put a little paint on the sides. But you can always throw in, like, if you want some more white streaks, maybe you need some more blue. But as you start to move up, it's going to start to gradually get darker. So you're going to start to dip less in the white and more blue. So as it starts to go up, grabbing more of that blue paint. Start to go towards the top. And I mean, these are your, so like if you wanted a solid color in your sky, maybe you don't want it to be streaky, maybe you want it just the blue. But as I'm going up, I'm not really picking up any more of my white paint, and I'm just kind of taking that blue. Cleaning your edges. And then as you get, I kind of left this little U shape up at the top. And if you want to get a little bit darker, you can start to add black with your blue. So I didn't rinse off my brush. I'm just kind of using what I got on there. And I'm going to grab the blue. And then once you're ready for the black, you'll dip, like, start off with like little bits of black, like super tiny bits. You can always add more. And it's going to mix with that blue and make this pretty dark navy color. And I can keep adding black as I go up. If you're wanting to make your sky a little darker. And then you can paint that top edge up there. So you just will have this fade going on where it's like lighter at the bottom, darker at the top. You can always go and add more white and go back down here if you need to. Just make sure you rinse out your brush really well so you're not dragging that black back down into a little lighter part of your sky. You can also mess up, like say if anyone has like a stark line where it's like light blue, then it's black, and it looks like a rainbow, and you kind of want to mess it up a little bit, you can go right between colors. So like say if it's like light blue and your blue, right where those two kind of meet, if you take your brush and you kind of go back and forth and move up and then come down, it just messes up that line so it's not like this perfect smiley face line. Unless you like it, then that's fine, because these are yours. But if you do want to go down and add more white, you're just going to rinse out your brush. Add some more in there. Also, I don't know if anyone feels like dancing, but dancing and singing helps your painting. I mean, so does drinking, but yeah, if you want more white, you can always hop down, add in some extra streaks. I would just rinse out your brush first. You can double check your edges, the sides, the top. Oh, nice. I like it, Regina. Nice. I'm also going by the names on your Zoom, so if I say the wrong name, like if it's not your name, sometimes it's people put different names on there, but Connie, it's very nice. But I don't mean to mess up your name if it's the wrong one. All right, but then you can kind of lean back from it a little bit, see if you like how it looks. If you do like it, don't touch it. Just keep going and it'll start to dry. Mess it up and you have to fix the whole thing again. But if you need to add some extra streaks to it, you can. We are also going to be adding snow in here later, so that's going to add some extra stuff to it.
Work on it.
Well, Erin, that's pretty. Looks good. Oh, nice. I like it. They're all so different. It's going to be great. They're all the same, but different. But then you can rinse out your brushes. So rinse them out. Once you're good with your sky, you can dry them off. All right, so we should have the sky up there for the most part. You can double check your edges. But then we're gonna start filling in our mountains. And instead of starting from the bottom, we're actually gonna start from the top and come down. That way, if you get to paint from this mountain and this one, you can just cover it up when you paint that mountain in. So we're gonna start from the back and work our way down. And depending on how big your mountains are, you can either use your square one, or you can use, like if you got really pointy mountains, your Your pointy brush might fill it in a little bit easier, but you can decide which brush works best. I'm going to use the square one, but so I'm going to start with the mountain that's the furthest back here. And on this one, it's kind of like this bluish gray. So this like icy dark gray color. So it's the black and white, and then it has a little bit of blue to it. So you can mix up that shade on your plate. So I'm going to take some white, some black, and it's pretty dark because it's all the way in the back there. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue to make it kind of this blue-gray color. So mine kind of looks like this. But then once you have that color, so the blue, black, white, so all three of the colors that you have. But I'm going to start all the way in the back, and I'm just going to fill this one in, and this will cover, you know, all like your sky colors. So like say if you got,
Sorry, what was the mix?
the white,
White and black?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, all three of your colors together. And then, but it's a little darker, so you can use more black with this mixture. So all three extra black. Since this one doesn't have lots of colors, it's really just, all right. But yeah, if you need to reshape your mountain, or you can go on top of your sky because this will cover. Like if you want to make them a little pointier, you want to add an extra bump to it. But then I'm gonna fill it all in until I hit my next mountain. So I'm gonna come on down. You also want to be covering your, like the lines we painted in the beginning, so like the outlines. So as we go, you can start to cover those up. You can paint the sides as you go down, so wherever you have like a little mountain, you can wrap it around. Paint that color on there so it matches. But you do want to make sure that it's like a different shade than your sky. So like say if you did your sky a little bit darker, you need to make your mountain a little darker by adding some extra black to it. You just want to be able to see it. So like you can tweak the colors a little bit. You can fill it all in, and then I like to kind of mess it up a little bit towards the top to kind of make it look like maybe there's some snow on it. So while it's still wet, you can dip into the white paint. And I didn't rinse my brush off. I still have like that color on there. But towards like the top, I can start to blend in some white paint into my mountain. I can mess it up a little bit, so it's not just like a solid shade. You can add a lot of white, you can add just a little bit. I don't know if anyone likes to finger paint, but you can also use your finger to kind of smear it in there. And since your gray color is still wet, you're able to kind of blend it in there. And it's pretty loose, pretty messy. But if the white gets too crazy, you can always take some of your dark gray and put it back on top. you can rinse out your brush. So once you're good with that, rinse it out. Filled it in, and then I took some extra white on my brush and kind of towards the tops of my mountains, like where you'd have a lot of snow. I blended in some white to lighten it up a little bit. Kind of glob it on there. But then you rinse your brush out and you're gonna start on your next mountain. So this one that's right here. And it's gonna be kind of it's a light blue, but it's darker than whatever you had in your sky. So like you just wanna make sure that it's a different shade. So whether you need to add some extra blue to it. But I rinsed my brush out so you don't have that gray on there. You can rinse it out, dry it off. Kind of have to like scramble it around in your water, like you're scrambling eggs to get all the color out, and then dry it off on the paper towel. But then the blue and white, to get the shade that you like, you just want to, as we go, we're just going to make sure that our mountains are different shades, so that way you can see them. So you can switch up the shades if you want, but I'm going to do this next one, and I'm going to do it with a light blue. But I just want to make sure it's darker than my sky. So like if you put it on there and it looks like it's the same color, just add some more blue paint to it. So that way you can see it. And then I'm going to fill this one in. You want to reshape it or add an extra bump to it. And then you can paint your side to match. So that's just the white and the blue. But then you could do the same thing where if you want to add, like kind of blend some, mess the top up a little bit, blend some white in there. I'm not going to rinse my brush out. I'm just going to dip it in some white paint. And anywhere where you want to kind of, so I kind of just start right on the inside and run down the side there. And then I like to take my finger and just kind of smear it into my mountain, back into my paint. It kind of fades it in a little bit, fades it out. And when you add the white though, you do want to make sure that it's going like with the way your mountain ridges would be going. So instead of just going like straight up and down, like you've got like a cliff, it's kind of going like with your triangle. So up this way, and then I'll go down the other way. Oh, nice. Regina, that looks very nice. Very nice. Do you like to paint, or is this your first time painting? Oh, really? First time? Nice. Oh, it's the wine? Yeah. The wine helps. But then you rinse out your brush before you get to the next one. And then the next one is going to be lighter. So you've got this blue here, like the light blue, but then you're going to make it even lighter. So white with little bits of blue, and we're going to fill this one in. If you have, if your mountains are a little bit different, like they don't have to be, like maybe if you have one less, you can decide where you want to put it, because we still have 2 more to fill in, but you can take one out if you need to, like if you didn't have as many mountains as I have on here. But the white with little bits of blue, and I'm just going to fill that one in. And same kind of thing, like if your blue is the same shade, you just want to make it lighter. So you need to rinse out your brush because you had too much blue on there. Start fresh. And then same kind of thing, you can either add some extra white in there, or if you need to add some, maybe you need to darken it a little bit, add some shadows with some more blue. Nice, Sonia.
This is my first time painting in my whole life, so
It looks good. How do you feel?
I'm a little tense, but I think I need a wine.
Oh yeah, well wine helps. Or if you need to just like take a lap, shake it out, dance.
Sonia, hold it up so I can see it. My first time too. Awesome.
Nice, and snow on top of the mountains. Looks good.
Very pretty.
Nice. Yeah, you just want to be able to tell the difference between your mountains. They don't have to be the exact shades up here, but you just want them to be different shades. But then you can fill in your next one once you're good with the lighter mountain. So I'm going to come to this one over here, and this one goes darker. And it's the black with the blue, so without the white. So that way it's going to be darker than our grayish mountain up here. So black paint, you can rinse out your brush since you were using white over here, dry it off. And then this mountain's going to be pretty dark. So it's the black and blue. So it makes this like really dark navy color. If you need to make it a little bit darker, you can use more black depending on the shade of your mountain. Right here. Okay, your side edges. This mountain really doesn't have any snow on it, but if you wanted to add some on the top, you totally can. If you wanted to add some extra highlights to it. But if you put them on there and you don't like them, you can always just paint it dark again. But then you can rinse your brush out again. So once you have that darker mountain on there, rinse it out, dry it off. And then this mountain is a little bit different because we can see like more of the texture is getting closer, so you can see more of the trees that we got going on there. But we're gonna actually we're gonna paint the mountain solid first and then do the texture on top of it. That way it doesn't drive you crazy trying to fill in like every single spot. But we're gonna do kind of like a fade on our mountain. So kind of like we did in the sky. But I'm gonna start with like a light blue, and then as I come down, I'm just gonna get darker. So I'm gonna kind of like we did in the sky, only reverse. So I'm gonna start off with a blue and white, just whatever shade, because we're gonna paint on top of this. But so I'm gonna start up here. But as I start to come down, I'm gonna just start to grab more blue and then black as I come down towards the bottom. So starting off with like a light blue towards the top. And then once you get about like halfway in your mountain, depending on, because everyone's might be a little bit different, you're gonna just start to grab that blue without the white. And you can be pretty messy when you're filling it in. Doesn't need to be perfectly smooth because we're gonna add texture to it anyways. But then I've got this dark black on the bottom. So it's kind of like what we did in the sky, only reverse. So we're starting at the top with the light, going down, get darker. The white and blue, and then just blue, and then black. Don't forget about your little edges. You can put a little paint on those. The lighter on top, darker on the bottom. Doesn't really matter like what shades you got going on, because we are going to be adding like the tree texture on top of it. So if it's not exactly how you like it, just let it sit, and we're going to paint over it. But then you're just going to fill in the bottom, and the bottom is going to be the white, and then we're going to add little bits of color to it to add some shadows. But even if you get a little black in there from your line, it's fine, because we're going to add it in there anyways. But I'm going to rinse out my brush to get all that color out of there, and I'm just going to start with the white, and you're just going to fill in that whole bottom. And white, if you load it on there, you can cover any mistakes. Like I had those blue lines on there, but I don't want them there, so I'm going to paint right over them. So starting off with the white, you accidentally got any gray going on because of your mountains right before that. Totally fine. If you have a lot of gray, you can stop and rinse out your brush and start fresh.
Kelly, can you show us the bottom half of your? Yes, thank you. Okay. I can only see the blue, the last blue mountain from here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Great, thanks.
It's just white down here for right now. So just filling it in with white, and then while the white is still wet, if you want to add in little bits of color to kind of give it some shadow, so it's not just like super bright white, you can use like tiny bits of paint because you don't want to use too much that it's gonna just turn it all one shade. And even if it does, we can let it dry and you can paint white over it. But on here, so like you can add in just like a little bit of blue, like tiny bits of blue, and then maybe like a little bit of this gray, so like little tiny bits. You can either, I like to either turn, depending on what brush you're using. With this, if you're using this bigger brush, I turn it on its side so you get like a thinner line, or you can switch to your pointy brush so you don't have as big of a line, but real tiny amounts of paint. Like you can even kind of test it on your plate before you put it on there, so that way you don't take black and then you have this like huge black mark. And it's going with the way your snow's kind of flowing, so you don't want it to go up and down. So I've got like this little mountain here, so I'm gonna maybe add in a few shadows in the snow.
Kelly, what are you doing the shadow with?
I'm using that like pointy or
The
the
thin-
square brush, yeah,
Okay.
on its side, or you can use the pointy one, but I'm using the square one. And just if you turn on its side, you get like a really thin line,
Right.
and then just kind of streaking through my snow. You could do a little blue too, so some light blue. So just adding the color kind of helps to add some shadows, some textures. It's not just like super bright white. You You can also glob some more white paint on there. If something got a little too dark, you can rinse your brush out. If it got really dark and you're like trying to make it white again, just let it completely dry. And then you can paint on top of it. Because if you keep trying to go over it with you got a lot of paint on there, then it's just gonna stay that color. Much shadows in your snow as you like. You can always add more later too. And then you can rinse out your brush. Yeah. Once you're good with that. Oh, nice. It looks good. Oh, nice, Kate. Katie. All right, so we should have all of our canvas now filled in with some kind of color paint. But then we're actually gonna hop back to this mountain over here with the trees texture that we got going on. Even if it's still a little bit wet, it's okay, but it should, I mean, the paint dries pretty quickly, so it might already be dry. But we are gonna start to add in some tree texture, and they're far away, so they're not as precise as these trees that we're gonna do over here on this side, so I wouldn't stress about having them look like actual trees. It's just you want the texture. So you can, depending on what's easier, you can try both techniques, but the thin brush, or sorry, the square brush, if you turn it on its side and you get like this thin line up and down, you can glob into the paint. So like using big chunks of paint and up and down. And I'm just gonna kind of do, like if you just dab the brush on there, you start to get these vertical streaks. But it's the same, we're gonna still have like the fade going on. So like only we're starting white at the top and then blue kind of towards the center of your mountain, and then you'll go black towards the bottom. You can also use your pointy brush as well. And with that one, I kind of turn like the point towards the sky, and you're just gonna glob the paint. So depending on which way is easier for you. But the less you think about this part, the better. So like if you got wine, you want to drink some and then do some dabs and then, you know, I don't know. But But yeah, so white at the top, and you can still, because we did that color, like that blue in the background, you can still see some of that blue. So it gives you so it allows you to be able to see it, because if you just did the white, you wouldn't be able to see the texture. So, and like you can go past, because they're trees, you can actually go past the top of your mountain. So like so then it looks like you've got these little treetops going on. But I kind of go layer by layer. So I do one layer kind of going across, then I come down, do another one.
What kind of paint did you use? Just white or white and blue?
Just the white.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So just the white up here. And I'm gonna do that till I get to like the middle of my mountain. I'm gonna keep on coming down. So up close, it probably looks a little funky, but if you step back a little bit, squint your eyes. No. But you can either use your pointy brush with the tip of your brush facing up. You can use your square brush, but using it the thin way, so up and down. But once you hit the center, then you're gonna start to pick up the blue with the white. And starting kind of like we've been doing, so I'm gonna start a little bit below the lines I just did, but you can go up into the white. You don't want it to be like this straight line across. So you kind of wanna have this messy transition between your colors. So I come up into my white a little bit, come down. Not really picking up any more white.
Sorry, what color was that?
So then I just go into the blue. So then I just start dipping into the blue and starting right below your white. You kind of start there, but then I dab up into my white and you kind of pick a little bit of it up and you come down, you come up, come down, come up. But yeah, just the blue. And then once you get towards the bottom, then you're going to switch to the black. So it's kind of like the same transition of colors. So like the white to the blue to the black. But because your white is wet, it's going to mix with your blue and you're going to get some different shades of blue. So you have some dark blues, light blue. And then once you come down a little bit more, depending on how big your mountain is, then you'll start dipping into the black and just kind of doing the same steps where you'll start, I didn't rinse my brush out, dip into the black. And then I'm going to start right below my blue. With this part though, you don't want to over blend it. Like if you start going over an area too many times, you're just gonna get like one shade all over. So you want to kind of quickly move from color to color. You can always go back in and like if you lost your white and you want more, you can rinse out your brush, throw some more white in there, throw some more blue. You might get a little gray because you got white on your brush. You're really just going for like texture, not individual trees. So like if you're stressing yourself out, you're like, doesn't really look like trees. Let that go. Also, if you kind of step back from it and you have like a really solid line between your colors, you want to mess it up, break the line. Oh, nice. You can kind of step back from it, see if you need to add like some extra white. If it looks like your line is too straight across and you want to break it up. Oh, that looks good. Nice. These look great. They're all different in their own ways though. Ooh, I like the grayish mountain or like gray texture. Nice, Lauren. Like it. Aaron, that looks good. I like it. It's like a grayish color and I like it. Very fluffy trees. Snowy trees.
Nice job, Aaron. Nice job. Really good. Yes, really nice. Uh-huh.
Oh, Terry's dancing. I see ya. There you go. All right, so we should have some texture on this little mountain here. And then you can rinse your brush out, whatever color you got on there. You can rinse it out, dry it off. And you can also add more color to it later. So like if it's just like kind of turned into a hot mess and you need to let it dry, you can then add some white back on top if you lost all your white. But then we have these two trees that are over on the left side, your happy little trees. So I'm sure you guys know Bob Ross, right? With the fro and like happy trees. So you can channel him if you want. But I'm gonna switch to my like pointier brush. You can switch to that one. You can rinse it out if you were using it, dry it off. But with our trees, we're gonna start off with our tree trunk first and put that on there so you know how tall your trees are gonna be. And we're gonna do that with like a gray color. So the white and black together. And depending on, it also depends on your painting too. So like if your mountains, you wanna be able to see it, especially down here. So like if you need to make it a little bit lighter, or darker. Just depends on what colors you got going on. Background there. Just that paint all over the keyboard. But we're just getting okay. But yeah, black and white. And then the trees are pretty tall. They, like this one almost touches the top of your canvas, so don't be scared to get tall. And then I'm not going to push down hard because the harder you push down with the brush, you get the bigger your line is going to be. So I'm going to start at the top, and then so however tall I want this one tree to be, and as I come down, it can gradually get a little bit thicker. So I'm going to push down a little bit harder as I get towards the bottom. But I can also run back over it and like thicken it up. You want to make sure that it's solid too. So like if you can see through it, you want to add some more paint on top of it.
What color did you use?
So I made a gray. So like the black
Gray.
and yeah.
Okay.
And then depending on like your mountains, you might need to make it like a little bit darker or lighter. So it just kind of, so that way you can see it. And these trees, they actually come all the way to the bottom of your canvas. So, or you can have it stop in your snow, but you just want to make sure it's not like up here floating in your mountains. So you want it to come down to your to your snow down here. If you like how this one is, you can go all the way to the bottom of your canvas.
There's too many people. Hi there, I have a question. What paint brush did you use? And it's kind of hard to see that.
Oh yeah, so I'm using the pointy brush, like the round one. And then I just mixed up a gray. And then I started kind of however tall you want it to be. And then you're just gonna do this like straightish line all the way down. But it can be, so you want it to be thinner at the top, and then as it comes down towards the bottom, it can get a little bit thicker.
And you did that with the small brush?
Yeah, so this like pointy one.
Oh.
But you can, you can also use the square one too, and just turn it on its side and do it that way. But just don't push down hard, because the harder you push down, the thicker it gets. Also, if your line got a little too thick, we are gonna pretty much cover these lines except for the bottom, so you won't really see them. But then you're gonna also map out your second tree. So I'm gonna come over maybe like 2 fingers width or 3, depending on how wide or like big this tree is gonna be. And I'm gonna map out that tree trunk. So I'm gonna come over like 2 or 3 fingers. And this one isn't as tall, so I'm not gonna start at the same height. I'm gonna come down a little bit, and then same thing, bring it on down. Get a little wider at the bottom. But you also kind of want to run it back over and make sure it's solid and you can't see through it. So if it looks a little scratchy, add some more paint to it. So now we have an idea of where our trees are going, how tall they're going to be. So it looks like just 2 sticks. All right, and then once you have your tree trunks tree trunks mapped out, we're gonna add the snowy branches, and you're gonna rinse out your pointy brush. So you can rinse that one out, dry it off. And then for these, I'm gonna use the white paint. As you start to get, lower, you can, if you need to tweak the white, like maybe you need to add a little bit of blue to it. So it just depends on like what's behind your trees, so that way you can see it. But up at the top, I'm just gonna start off with white. And you also wanna make sure the direction of your branches, so they don't like fly up too much and it looks like your tree was like electrocuted. So kind of think of gravity, but this one, smaller at the top, it gets a little bit wider towards the bottom. But if you think of like an arrow, so starting at the top, or these upside down V's, and they can be pretty messy, pretty globby. But up at the top, I'm just gonna start off with like a really small arrow or triangle, like the top of the triangle. It can kind of flare out at the, like real small. So up at the top, you don't want it to get too wide too quickly. So they're pretty skinny, or like they're not coming out too much. But as I start to come down, I'm still kind of thinking of that like arrow. But as you're coming down, like if they're, you can alternate, like they don't have to be these perfect triangles. You can add an extra branch, skip a branch. But you can start skinny and then you can always make it wider. So as you're coming down, don't get too wide too quickly. But then once you come down, you can go back and you can like reshape it, make it a little bit wider. As you come down and you hit your snow, that's when you'll probably have to add a little bit of color to your white. So I'm gonna just take like a little bit of blue. You can also have some extra in your tree, or like in your other branches. It doesn't just have to be down at the bottom, but. And then you stop and you leave as much as you want for your trunk. And your tree can be pretty solid towards the center, the edges where you want to be able to see like individual branches.
Oh, Kelly, sorry, real quick question. My mom is painting with us, and she's said that her computer went down, and she has trouble getting back into the Zoom. Can we just make sure? I don't know if she's waiting outside the Zoom or how that works.
I don't see her in the waiting. Has she entered? Like, did she try to add it again? I don't see her in the waiting room. but I can add her.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to call her and see if she can try to log back in. But all I heard was that her computer went down. She can't get back in. So I thought I would try there first and see if she was in like the waiting room or something.
Yeah, I don't see her in the waiting room, but I'll see it pop up and I'll let her in. So if she tries to go back on the link.
Okay, perfect. I'll find out. Thanks.
But then you get to do the same thing over again. So then you get to start on your next tree. Starting small again with that arrow shape, triangle. Getting wider as you come down. As you get towards the bottom, your trees are probably going to touch. Unless you did them further apart. But so starting small at the top. Oh, nice. Happy little trees. But you can also add a little bit of blue in that one if you need to be able to see, like towards the bottom. Little tiny bits. Oh, nice. Oh, Connie, that looks so pretty.
I'm having lots of happy accidents.
There you go. Yep, no mistakes, just happy accident. Always turn into like a bird or something. Or a squirrel.
Awesome.
I knew Kenny had it in him.
Oh, nice. Candy, that looks good. Oh, here we go. I think this might be. I just admitted someone, so I think she's connected. So for whose mom that was.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I've been off video, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. She's like, I can't get back in. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Just popped up, so I just added her back, so she should
Okay,
be.
cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And on the bottom of your tree trunk, if you want to add like a little highlight, like this one has kind of like some highlight going up and down on that little piece that's left on the bottom. So once you get the white on your trees, you can streak a little white. Like maybe it's snow on the wood grain or just like a little highlight. But if it gets too dark, you can always, if you put too much, take the black and cover it back up. In your snow, if anyone wants to add in, so we are going to add like these little happy trees that are along your ridge line here, but then if anyone wants to do like some strands of grass that's peeking through your snow, you can use that pointy brush that you got there, and then gray paint, so it's the black and white, like a light gray, like I wouldn't do it too dark. You can either, like if you have a shadow, you can use that and just add some strands of grass so like it's coming streaking from, I always start from the bottom of my strand of grass and streak up, so that way it's thinner towards the bottom or towards the top. But or you can add in a shadow, so like maybe if I wanted to add a little line, and then from that shadow I can have a few sprouts of grass kind of coming out of it. It's kind of hard to see these. Or you can opt out of the grass and it's just like a nice snowy hill. There's no grass sticking out because it's so deep. You can just skip that if you don't want them on there. And then if they get too dark, just let it dry. We can put some snow on top of it. But then
how you do the trees, the smaller ones?
These ones? So yeah, so these ones, they're almost like zigzag trees. Like, so I always start off with like the lines, you know how tall it's gonna be. So like you'll start off with like your tree trunk, and these are just with like white paint. And they're on the hill back there. So I start off with one line, so I know like how tall my little tree is gonna be. And then same kind of thing. So like they're just these little triangles, messy triangles. But if you just go back and forth and get wider as they come down, little messy trees. But they can be different heights, different sizes. And they're towards the back of your hill, so they're pretty small. And since you've got a smaller canvas, they're even smaller. But they're just like messy triangles. Smaller at the top, get wider as it comes down. So barely pushing down on those trees since they're so small. But you can add as many as you want on your hill. We have our tall trees. You can add these smaller trees that are along the back of your hill there, which those are just like, I start off with one line so you know how tall it's going to be, so your tree trunk, and then you're just kind of making these messy triangles, zigzags. And they come down to your snow lines, that way they're not floating. But then comes the fun part of adding your snow. And there's a few different options you can do for your snow. So the not so messy way is if you use the back end of your brush. It can be like your round brush or your other brush. And you dip it right into your paints. You can get these nice circles. So I'll smear them. But yeah, you could do these nice circles. You can add in as much snow that way. Or if you're feeling a little crazy and you want to splatter paint, which is fun, but you are in your home, so just kind of like watch where you're doing it. Just careful not to splatter like your carpet, or if you're painting with someone, don't splatter them in the face, or but you just have to water down your white paint, because if you use it just how it is, it's going to be super chunky and you're not going to get like the spread out splatter effect. So you can take some of your water. If you need to go grab some fresh water so it's not blue, you are more than welcome to, but I'm going to take some of that water and you can use either brush. I'm going to use the big one, and take a little pile of white, hard to hold it up, but a little pile of white and water, and I'm just going to mix it around until it becomes more liquidy. So it should kind of like, when you move your plate, it should kind of go with your plate. And then I scrape off my brush so I don't have so much on there, especially if you mixed it. And then hold it really close to your canvas, and your finger's going to get messy. And if you pull back and push forward, you start to get splattered.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like
That's
that.
a good technique. Yeah.
This makes your painting look 20 times better. So yeah, but if it's coming off in like big chunks, you're getting like chunks where they're these long strands, you just need more water to your mixture. So like you want to add more water to it. And then scrape it off so you don't have so much on there. Pull back and flick forward. Don't be scared. Hold it really close to your canvas though, so you're not like flicking your whole wall. That would not be good, but. And then, I mean, if you get any splatters on there and you really didn't like it, you can wipe it off with your finger and then we'll paint over it with your background color.
Kelly, are you able to do another demonstration of that? I'm sorry, I was focused on something else.
Yeah, the splatter paint.
Yeah.
So you can either, for stars, you can either, or not stars, snow, you can either use the back end of your brush and you'll dip it right into the paint and then just dot it right on there. So that's one way. Or if you want to splatter, you just have to you have to water down your white paint. So you take some of your water and white off to the side and kind of mix it around. It makes it pretty liquidy. You want it to be able to move like on your plate, and then scrape off your brush. You don't have so much on there, so let's see if I was like running on that. But and then you'll just hold it close to it and pull back and flick, and you'll start to get snow. You have to be kind of aggressive with your flicks. So you can keep playing with it till you get enough on there. If you messed one up, then you can just take your whatever color is behind it, blend it in. That way right there. The good part with this painting is that you only have 3 colors, so you can really fix everything. But yeah, if it's coming off in big chunks, you just need more water to your mixture. I mean, if it's dripping down your canvas, like, I guess I have to say that too. So like if you have like water drips, you need to add more paint to it. But kind of like this happy middle ground that you gotta find. But and then just pull back, flick forward, hold it pretty close to your canvas. That way you're not getting all over.
Kelly, this is Sandy. I'm having trouble with these trees. Maybe. Here I am.
Yeah, that's cute. That is so cute.
Oh, it looks good though.
Very good, Sandy.
I'm having trouble blending these so they look like trees. So they look more like the ones
I
you
think
did.
that you want to do, like, you want them to overlap more, like you want to fill in more of this space.
Yes.
Like if you, because like they're too perfectly spread out, so you want to like in between the colors, like in between the white, like you want to kind of add in some extra.
Okay.
That way it's not too like spread out. If that makes sense. Because they look like they're like too perfectly placed.
Yeah.
Between each other, so you want to kind of intertwine.
To blend a little bit of the blue in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I would start with like the white again, and kind of in between, like the white that you already have, kind of add in some extra white, and then go into the blue, and then the black.
So down here I'm gonna do some more blue, and down here some more black.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. So I did what you said, and I painted on the side, and now I have it all over me.
It happens.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, you can go as crazy as you want with the snow, the splatters. The back end of your brush will get you a nice big circle. So if you want like some bigger circles of snow.
This is awesome. This is my first time painting. I can't believe that this It looks like trees. It looks like that.
Maybe you have a hidden talent.
It's awesome.
It does look awesome. Looks great. Maybe you were supposed to be a painter.
I would echo that. You do have a hidden talent. That's really good.
It's the wine.
Loosens you up.
Liquid courage.
Right. Oh, Aaron, that looks good.
So, Kelly, I'm starting to get into my nervous mode. So, when you splatter, sometimes there's little like lines that come. Are those? Try to avoid those. What do you do when you get like a line, like a curved line?
Yeah, so I would not have as much on your brush, and then when you do it, kind of like it's coming because this brush is new. It's not as like messed up as the other one, so it sticks together. Like the bristles stick together more. So like if you kind of like splatter, if you kind of like mess up your separate out your bristles a little bit, and it won't go together as much.
Okay, thank you.
And then just don't have as much paint on your brush. So you can kind of wipe some of it off, and then as you do it, kind of mess up the line so it's not all coming off at once in like a streak. Or you might need a little bit more water to your mixture. You can try both.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I have one more question for someone else who doesn't have a question.
Nope, I think it's you.
Okay, can you like zoom in at the bottom part of the trees where the bristles are by the snow? So that needs to be a little more blue. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I just
you.
added some blue so that way you could see it down there.
Okay. Thank you.
Just like little bits. Little bits of blue. But yeah, you can add some snow. You can kind of lean back from it if you need to fix anything on there. You can also sign your masterpiece as you just work this hard on it. Started from scratch. You could sign with like your name, your initials. If you do have like a Sharpie at home, you can also sign with that if you don't want to sign with your paintbrush. I normally sign like in the corner. You can also double check like your edges. Make sure that those are all painted. The bottom you really don't have to stress about because it's white. So you're good on that one. And then we are going to take like a little group picture with you to get all your masterpieces together.
My little Christmas tree cannot compete with yours. I don't know what you're doing with your technique. Mine looks like a pine, like very skinny. It's not as nice as yours, but
I mean, add a little bit more on the top so that way, like if you think of like it, because some of them look like the top of your trees cut off, so you want them to be a little smaller at the top, but they're cute though.
Okay, and so little. Oh, okay, I see.
Like you want it, like if you think of like a triangle, you want to kind of.
Okay, I see.
You want to look like they're cut off. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's what I needed. Okay.
But they're cute. They're cute little trees, and the canvas is small, so like the trees are super tiny, little micro trees. You can put your signature on there if you want to go into any extra piece of it.
I feel like adding more on top of the branches is a good thing. Like every extra bit of white makes it less see-through.
Yeah. Yeah, so like if you wanted to glob some more white on your trees too, because that like the one layer you might still be able to see like behind it, but if you take, once it dries, if you want to do like an extra layer on top, it does make it brighter. If you want. All right.
Hey, Kelly, where did you go to school?
I went to Western
Okay,
Carolina.
West Ashley or?
Oh no, Western Carolina. It's Cullowhee.
Okay.
Like, it's near Asheville.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did
Yeah.
you go to school for art?
Yeah, I got my fine arts degree.
Oh, nice.
We did do that.
You know how to
Kelly,
get
can you-
paint off a computer?
Luckily, it does come off of like hard surfaces. So, like if you look at my keyboard,
Somebody.
See, look. I got a little too happy with my my snow, apparently.
it happens. But a hard surface, like it comes off your phone, you can scrape it off. If it's like a keyboard, you can get it off. Like our mouse just looks like a hot mess, but it comes off the hard surfaces. Luckily, carpet. Hopefully, no one got on the carpet or the rug.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Elaine, that looks good. Happy little trees.
It's not too blue on the bottom though.
Blue on the bottom? No.
Yeah, the bottom branches.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you could glob some extra white on it, but through the camera, I don't even really see blue. but I guess it is on there because I can still see the branches, but it doesn't look too blue through here. But I don't know in person that you can.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, this camera's pretty bad, but thank you.
Can you show shadows and stuff that you have going on in your snow? Do you just have like a few little grassy spots or whatever?
So I did like a dark line where the grass grows out of.
Okay.
And then there's just like some random like stuff that's just blended in the snow. So
Okay.
it's like white with a little bit of color. But the grass is growing out of like a darker shadow. So it's like a line with some strands of grass.
Okay. I'm so scared to mess it up now.
It's gonna be great. Just do like a really light gray.
Kelly, I didn't do my sides because it was leaning against my laptop.
Oh,
so I don't have an easel. I've never painted before either.
Well, you could
Now
lean
you
it.
have to frame it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'm probably not going to do that because I don't like it.
Or, I mean,
I
like,
do.
if your edges aren't messy, then you don't really have to paint the edge. Like if you didn't, because it doesn't look like you got paint on your edges. It's just so that way, because sometimes, like, when you paint, if you get, like, little streaks on it, it'll look messy on the side, so it's easier to just, like, paint it the color. But, like, if they don't look messy, then you don't really have to worry about painting them.
I have paint left over. I mean, I could do it just when I have something other than my laptop that I'm leaning.
Yeah. And you could just do it side by side. Like, do one side, let it dry, and then turn it and do another one. Let it
Yeah,
dry.
that's a good idea.
And then that way it doesn't get on your...
Christmas decoration.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to frame it and put it up in one of the rooms.
And it can stay past Christmas because it's winter. So you don't have to just have it up for December.
I was gonna say, for anyone that would like to email me a picture of your masterpiece, I would love to see it.
Oh, those look really good. All right, so really quick, we're gonna take a group picture with everyone together. So if you want to just show your painting, I mean, if you don't want to, you can leave your screen off. But you can hold it up. If you want to hide your face, that works too. Oh, they're so pretty. These look so good.
Nice job, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. Terry, we can't see yours. No, you got to get closer a little bit. There you go. Yep, and yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
They're all beautiful.
They are.
They are.
Oh, wow, you guys.
All
Very
right.
nice.
1, 2, 3, cheese. Oh, hold on. Okay, then hold on, don't move because I have to do another page. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, awesome. Oh, thank you guys.
So
Thank you. It was a lot of
Thank you so
fun.
much. You're a great teacher. Great
This was so much
Very
fun.
nice class.
I hope everyone enjoyed
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And bye, Candy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly, I enjoyed the class.
Yes.
Bye.
Let us know when you have another